And we're live.
Welcome everybody to the very first installment of the Rotag and Willy show, featuring the hard-hitting, always entertaining Brawl. I'm your co-host Rotag, joined by the legendary Wild Willy. Willy, are you as excited and pumped as I am for us to bring Brawl out of Arbor Park and into the world?
Oh yeah, Row, this has been in our heads since we were college roommates, and now we're bringing it to the world, and I could not be more psyched about it.
Willy, why don't you take a moment to explain what exactly the Brawl is and how it's going to work so that all of our Brawl fans know exactly how things are going to be going down.
Alright, so it comes down to a few simple questions. Who would win a battle? How would that fight look? What special moves would each character use? These questions captivated two college roommates at the University of Florida. With plenty of time on their hands, lots of beer, and a deck of cards, these weirdos devised a system to answer those questions in the most entertaining way possible. A March Madness style tournament with seeded entries of some of their favorite characters in entertainment and random people they saw every day. Nearly 20 years after graduation, these roommates took their passion and created this podcast to bring the entertaining event to the American public. Each week, Rotag and Wild Willy will create brackets and brawls and run them live for everyone to witness, all while providing hilarious commentary. Who will win? Who will fall? Who will emerge as an underdog and capture America's hearts? Find out next on Brawl!
Willy, I couldn't have said it better myself, and that's probably because you are definitely better with words than I am. That being said, I'm more about the action. Let's get into our very first bracket reveal. We're heading to one of my favorite places, Wrigley Field. So this would be the top 16 teams that have made it to Wrigley Field bracket. Our number one seed goes to Darth Vader. You may hate him all you want, but the man is clearly a number one seed. He will be going up against 16 seed Betty White.
Vader all day long. Poor Betty doesn't have a chance because when we do these battles, they're done with a series of 3 card draws. As in, one competitor draws a card, the next one draws a card. And with a seed differential of greater than 10, any punch from Vader resulting in ace, king, queen, jack, or 10 will end the brawl instantly. That fight is over when any of those cards are drawn. Betty White's only hope in this fight will be a joker, which will allow her to end the fight. Anytime anybody draws a joker, the fight is over. So in my mind, Betty White, she better hope to draw one of the 2 jokers in the deck, or she is heading back to Golden Girls and retirement.
Well, listen, 99 years old. I hate to say it, but it's not going to look like 100 if you got to go up against Darth Vader there.
Oh yeah,
But hey,
no mercy.
stranger things have happened, and we know this from our old days. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of the bracket there. We have the 8-9 matchup. John McClane, him of Die Hard fame, going up against legendary hero Davy Crockett. Moving on to the 4 vs 13 matchup, we have Brian Mills from the Taken series versus late night host Jimmy Fallon. Coming in at the number 5 seed is Maximus versus one of my favorite guys, Ron Swanson, the man himself.
Ron effin Swanson and his mustache. That could be one of those classic 12/5 upsets.
I mean, and that's one of the things is, I bet Ron Swanson has a lot of respect for Maximus. Maximus, big, strong man, takes into his hands what he needs to, and Ron Swanson can respect that. But it should be a very tough fight for both of them. Moving on, we've got the number 3 vs 14 seed. We've got the entire Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield bringing his entire team with him to take on the whiny guy who always wanted to tell the longest story in a Bob Saget voice, apparently, Ted Mosby.
How I Met Your Mother and he loves the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns can't get past the first round in many of their playoff matchups. They made the playoffs as a 3 seed. I got Mosby in that one.
My friend, Ted Mosby, spends too much time looking for his wife that he's not going to even know that a brawl is coming, and he is going to be laid out before it even gets started. Paul Bunyan versus Phil Mickelson is our 6 and 11 seed. Now, this seems like it would be quite a big stretch for Mickelson, but he does have a 9-iron with him.
One of the few people in this brawl who are armed.
That is true. Most of the time we leave them coming in unarmed, but occasionally someone slips something through our security. We'll work on maybe updating that policy and doing some coaching for our security guards, but until then, Phil Mickelson, his 9-iron is in. Coming up at number 7 versus 10, we have Indiana Jones versus everybody's guy that you either love to hate, but he gets pressed no matter what, Timmy Tebow.
Yeah, he was the quarterback during our time at the University of Florida, Heisman Trophy winner. The guy's a tank, but Indiana Jones, he's still around. So
it will definitely be another one. There's one where you've got two guys that you can both root for, and so anybody that wins that will be happy to see that. Although I'm still going to be pulling for our man from UF, Tebow.
Nope.
And finally, to cap off this bracket, the 2 versus 15, and Rude, Mr. Wild Willie, we have been hyping this one up because this is one that I want to see out of every field match here. This is the one I wanted to see. Number 2, Batman, my boy Bats, representing him on my shirt right now, versus somebody who talks non-stop, Stephen A. Smith.
I got Stephen A. in the upset. He's gonna say one sentence, and it's gonna be too much for Batman. His voice is his secret weapon, and Batman, I think, is going to be ill prepared to handle that kind of noise. I got Stephen A. the 15 over to 2.
And this is why it might end with one episode, because people are going to hear that ridiculous stuff that you are spewing out of your mouth and being like, Batman, ill-prepared, the greatest detective in the world, a person who's taken down Superman, who also might be coming up in the brackets later on. And you're saying Stephen A. Smith, a guy that just jabbers all day long, is going to beat Batman. You are out of your mind. There is not a lucky enough deck in the entire world for Stephen A. Smith to pull this off.
I just look at the math, and yeah, the seed difference is greater than 10. Batman could draw an ace, king, queen, jack, or 10 and instantly end a brawl. But if he happens to not draw one of those cards in the 3 draws that he has, it's just a matter of who's got the higher point total.
Listen, I'll end it on this. The only way Batman loses this, if somehow Batman decides it's not worth his time and he sends Little Boy Wonder Robin to go take it on, and even then, it is still not possible mathematically for this to happen, in my opinion.
Always a mathematical chance.
Wrigley Field bracket. We have closed off that one. We are now tossing it over to the next region. Willie, take it away.
Okay, coming to you live from Hofbräuhaus, famous beer hall in Munich, Germany. We have the next region. The 1 seed in that region goes to Godzilla and Kong. I don't know how they're going to fit those monsters in a beer hall, but their first round matchup is against 16 seed and everybody's favorite scientist, Stephen Hawking. Yeah, I don't see that ending well for Dr. Hawking. All right,
well,
go ahead, Rotag.
Listen, I mean, with all due respect to Stephen Hawking, I don't think that he's going to have the brass, the charisma to say lines like King Kong ain't got beep on me, like we've seen in other movies. He just doesn't have that, and even if he did, it's not going to be close in this one.
Somebody who can use the rules of physics to help him might be able to figure out how to make Godzilla and Kong disappear. All right, the 8-9 matchup. We have President Andrew Jackson with a big old hickory stick going up against the original Ghostbusters. Who you got, Rotag?
Oh, Ghostbusters all day long for me. I mean, President Andrew Jackson, nice 7th president, but that was a long time ago. Big hickory stick or not, the Ghostbusters, they're used to dealing with things that are out of this world, so even if Andrew Jackson is coming back as a ghost, they are prepared for that. So, Ghostbusters, they got it.
80s comedians versus a guy with an actual stick who's been in fights before. I'm going to go with President Jackson. All right, the 413 matchup. We have the original A-Team versus Homer Simpson. The 512 matchup, we have Mike Hager of old school video game fame going up against former University of Florida lineman Mo Mitchell. Who you got?
Well, I love Mike Hager. I remember playing with him in Final Fight, and even going back and replaying with him. So the guy is a beast, a tank out there, and he knows fighting, and that's exactly what this is. But man, my heartstrings pull for Mo Mitchell. He was one of the original people that we put in brawls way back in the day, and so I got to go for Mo Mitchell, man. I'm rooting for the guy. I want him to go far.
Rotag, I also got Mo Mitchell. We saw the man on all 300 plus pounds and 6'6", 6'7", whatever the man is, on a tiny little motor scooter that all Gator football players received in the mid 2000s, and the man knows how to fight, so I got Mo as well. All right, moving on. The 314 matchup. We have Michael Myers of Halloween fame versus everybody's favorite sitcom comedian, Chandler Bing, from the show Friends. I do not see that ending well for Chandler.
Well, here's the thing. Mike Myers just keeps coming back over and over and over again. No matter how many times they try to kill him with ratings or with reviews, he keeps coming back. So the comedian Chandler, his jokes are not going to play well for him in this. And so Myers, whether he gets a knife in or not, we didn't specify that. I didn't really want to search him myself to see because that guy's a scary guy. Chandler, we're praying for you, buddy.
Okay, moving on. We got Randy Johnson, former flamethrower for the Arizona Diamondbacks and Seattle Mariners, going up against Fortnite hero Jonesy. 3 baseballs.
This is interesting because Randy Johnson was able to bring in 3 baseballs, correct?
That's correct.
And man, if he hits you with one of those, close to 100 miles an hour, that's going to really hurt and be a big difference maker. But man, Jonesy has been a hero in Fortnite, and he's season after season, as the game gets updated, he just gets more and more power to him. He gets more and more different styles to him. And so, I mean, he's the one that's hot right now. Johnson, forgotten guy. His time of fame is beyond him. So even with 3 baseballs, man, Jonesy's got to be my man there.
I don't know if you remember this scene, but Randy Johnson did kill a bird with a baseball, and that bird, it was nothing but feathers after being hit with a Randy Johnson fastball. So, I don't know. He's got 3 shots. If one of them hits, it's over. But as a
Willie,
go ahead.
Sorry to interject, Willie, but man, you make me want to rethink my bracket prediction now. Because I do remember that, and that was insanely amazing and scary at the same time.
The odds of that happening in real life are probably the same odds that are even more astronomical than Betty White drawing a Joker in a 54-card deck against Darth Vader. But in a 6-11 matchup, the knockout differential is, the seed difference is 5. So Randy Johnson can draw an ace, king, or a queen and knock out Jonesy with one of those fastballs. So that'll be an interesting one to watch. Next matchup, the 7-10 matchup. No knockout cards in that one. We got the notorious Conor McGregor going up against a pirate with a blunderbuss and gonorrhea.
I don't even know what to say to this one, so next.
He's got 1 shot and a lot of anger. I got him as one of my Cinderellas. Next we have a Rambo going up against Mark Summers from Double Dare in the 215 matchup.
Yeah, this 2 versus 15 matchup is nowhere near as powerful to me as the Batman Stephen A. Smith from the Wrigley Field one. I got Rambo in this one. I just see him, annihilating Mark Summers. Mark Summers, one of my heroes growing up as a kid, hosting Double Dare. I always liked that show and figured I could be on it. But he just is not intimidating at all.
Yeah, he might want to just take a fall and then head to the bar to pick up a delicious liter of Pilsner beer. All right, that takes us out of Munich, Germany, and over to the North Pole at Santa's Octagon. Give us the rundown, Rotag.
Well, from one cold place over there in Germany to another one here at the North Pole, Santa's Octagon, man. I can only imagine what that would be like and how it would be filled with so many different presents in there. And it's just going to be crazy. I can just imagine thousands of elves, man. They're just all surrounding the Octagon, chanting the names. And they're excited about these matchups because their very first matchup features what arguably to me is the biggest differential in all of the entire matchups. We have the number 1 seed, Superman, going against the number 16 seed, Wilson, from Castaway. That's right, a volleyball. Volleyball versus Superman. And unless that volleyball is made of kryptonite, and even then, I don't think the volleyball has a chance. This is just utterly ridiculous that this even made it into the tournament, but it did. And so, this is going to be over good night as quick as can be.
Don't trip, Superman. It's icy up there.
Moving on, 8-9 matchup. We have Mr. Stonewall Jackson versus, again, one of my favorite people of all time, character-wise, the NWO's Mr. Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And I can just hear the music playing in the background. New World Order. I don't want to do too much of it. I don't want to get copyright infringement from WWE. But yeah, this one, I got my man, Hollywood Hogan. He's going to take out Mr. Stonewall Jackson. Although 8-9, there is actually no knockouts here.
Nope.
So
it is a pretty even matchup.
moving on, we have the number 4 seed, Jason Bourne, going against number 13, old Clint Eastwood.
That is modern day Clint Eastwood. The man he's either pushing 90 or he's already there.
Well, and that's the thing. That is one of my dad's all-time favorite actors. And so the sentimental me picked him to go over Jason Bourne here, which, again, realistically, probably not going to happen. But, man, back in his day, Clint Eastwood was the man. Unfortunately, this is modern-day Clint Eastwood, who, as you said, is, in fact, over 90. He is 91 years old. Actually just had a birthday last month.
Happy birthday, Clint.
Happy belated birthday, Mr. Eastwood. And maybe get a free parting gift of a present on your way out of the Octagon, because they go well, even though I picked you. Moving on to the number 5 versus 12 matchup. We have number 5, the current strongest man in the world, Tom Stoltman, going against Charles Barkley of current age. And as much as I like Charles Barkley back in the day and his current age body, I just don't think is anything to stand up to the world's strongest man.
Oh, the round mound of rebound is going to need more than jokes and snide remarks to take down that kind of muscle.
Absolutely. And I don't know what Stolman's fighting background is and stuff like that, but just a man with that amount of strength, even with limited fighting knowledge, you still got a really good chance in any matchup, I would imagine. Now moving up to one of your favorite picks here, we have Jamie Lannister going against one of the favorite characters of all time in TV, Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell.
And Lannister is one of the few characters who is armed, and there's no one in Westeros who is more dangerous with a sword than Jamie Lannister. Lannister's my pick to actually advance out of that bracket using those sword skills. Mr. Belding, you are headed for detention.
Well, and here's the thing is, unfortunately, those swords are actually kind of meaningless because when we're drawing cards, they don't get any extra points for having weapons, at this point. So if they got an extra card to be a knockout with weapons, then I would take that. But you know what? I got Lannister progressing on too, but part of me in the heart says, man, I wish Mr. Belding would, just for once kind of get over on something, because he never got over on Zach, that's for sure.
Seed difference greater than 10. Ace, king, queen, jack 10. That's a lot of cards that Lannister could end that fight with instantly.
Very true, Mr. Wild Willie, very true. All right, we got number 6 versus 11. We have Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Mr. Wrestling and Acting Stud, going up against Cristiano Ronaldo. And all those soccer skills, not going to pay off. He can have all the Twitter followers and all the Instagram followers, but in a fight, in a brawl, you got to go with The Rock. Am I right?
I don't know. Ronaldo does have the world's largest Adam's apple. So, combined with his skills of the feet, I don't know. That's a 6-11 matchup. A lot of different ways that could go.
Speaking of WWE, and this is kind of the WWE, WWF bracket, because we already had Hollywood Hogan from the NWO there. We had The Rock. We're moving into one more, which is John Cena. Some people say you can't see him, but I feel like we're seeing him everywhere with things like the new Fast and Furious movie coming out, which he is now playing in there. And he is going up as the number 7 seed against the number 10 seed, Mr. Roger Murtaugh.
He's too old for this, that's for sure.
Way to throw in the classic line from his hit movies with Mel Gibson. We appreciate that, as always. And finally, to round out the bracket, our number 2 seed, the Terminator T-800, Arnold Schwarzenegger style, versus a vaping 6th grader.
Oh.
I'm not even sure that he's going to know what hit him. It's just going to be clean, quick, done, moving on for Terminator.
Yeah, there's no bathrooms to go vape in for that middle schooler. It's not looking good for him.
Nope. That rounds out our North Pole Santa's Octagon region. We have just one more region left, and that is the Roman Colosseum. And fitting that that is the last one because so many things went down in the Colosseum. And so, Willie, break down that bracket for us.
Okay. Final region. Number 1 seed, in my opinion, one of the strongest number 1 seeds in the field. The incomparable Thanos. He is inevitable. But first, he has to get past 16 seed Kermit the Frog. I do not see that ending well for Kermit.
Nope, he might as well just call it a quick day, go home to his piggy, and move on with life because, yeah, it's not happening.
Now, he does not have his Infinity Stones. He's just Thanos. But that dude is a beast. All right, 8-9 matchup. Who will likely have to face down Thanos in the second round. We have number 8 seed, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, going up against number 9 seed, Andre the Giant, in his prime. How do you see that one going down, Rotag?
Well, I've got Andre the Giant. I think that the man truly was a giant. The stories about what he could do, and I mean, he would probably lose this matchup if it was in the Opera House because we know our boy Andre, he liked to drink a lot of beer.
He certainly did.
Could. According to all the reports from all the people that were around him, he was impeccable at that. With his mind focused and straight, though, because he is in a ring, he is in the Coliseum, he is in a fighting element, and not at a brewery, he is going to take down Buffy, which, all due respect to Buffy, I just don't see, Andre being as weak as some of the vampires that she probably already had dealt with.
Moving on to our 4-13 matchup, we have the Joker and Harley Quinn, a team competitor, going up against 13 seed, a janitor with a mop.
Yeah, as you're right, Willie, this is one of the few teams that we have in there, with Kong and Godzilla being the others. I mean, they've got a 2-1 advantage. The janitor with a mop, I mean, I don't know what he's going to do with that mop. I just, as long as Joker and Harley Quinn don't, explode and implode themselves with their infighting, this this should be an easy one for them to mop up with.
I know. I'm imagining my elementary school janitor right now, and I don't know if he could do some karate like Mr. Miyagi, but it's I'm not seeing that end well for that poor janitor, even with his mom. Moving on, the 5-12 matchup. Mike Tyson in his prime. Iron Mike going up against classic narcissist Gaston from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, this is Tyson all the way. I mean, I remember playing Mike Tyson's, Punch-Out on Nintendo, and I couldn't beat him. And so I fancied myself a pretty good video game player and a pretty good fighter myself. And if I'm not taking out Tyson in that, then Gaston, you got no chance. Go back to your Disney life, and have a happy ending.
I don't think he had a happy ending in Beauty and the Beast. He fell down from the top of that tower, and he's going to fall down in the Coliseum after Iron Mike hits him with one of his classic uppercuts. Next, we have the 3 seed, an effing tiger, an actual wild beast versus modern day Gary Busey. Man, I don't know, man. Unless that tiger has been starved as they were in the Coliseum and is weak from that, that tiger is going to be, this could be one of the uglier matchups that results in an actual fatality in this arena.
And Will, you brought it up, and I was just thinking that same thing in my head. I said, man, Busey's going to die. I'm just saying, this is actually going to be a fatality here. This is not just going to be a beatdown and the match is over. This could actually, result in a trip to the morgue. So
yeah, Busey better just lay down and hope that the ref makes it a quick call, because I don't know about you, but if I found myself staring down a tiger, I'm looking for the ref to call it, because I do not want to face one punch from that king of the jungle. Next, we have the 6-11 matchup, which is a random middle-aged dad with a Bowie knife against Ronda Rousey.
Now listen, a guy with a knife is pretty scary, but man, Ronda Rousey in her prime, she was fierce. She was taking it down. She knows how to avoid getting hit, and she knows how to take a punch. And so, I mean, I think her technical training is going to pay off here versus some random person that, doesn't have that technical training. And so, I'm going to go with Ronda Rousey here.
But he does have a Bowie knife, which is not just a switchblade. That thing is a monster. I don't know.
Well, there's a reason why it's a 6 versus 11 matchup, Clearly he's got the advantage because of the weapon. If he didn't have the weapon in there,
he's done.
It's a much closer matchup.
He'd be a 15 or 16 seed. Middle-aged dad with his New Balances and his fanny pack is not going to take down Ronda Rousey. Not a chance. But
listen, he probably, after he gets done working, he probably goes to the gym, then picks up his kid, and, he might push her or him around in a stroller up hills and stuff like that for a little bit.
True. Built some strength.
Dad's probably putting in his time. He probably doesn't have a complete dad bod, but yeah, it's just not going to go well.
He's going to need to pick up a few more rotisserie chickens at Publix, and if he's going to win this fight. Next, we have LeBron James versus the entire crew from the HBO show Entourage. Tell me what you think about this matchup, Rotag.
Listen, it's no secret. I'm not a big LeBron James fan. I prefer, some of the more older basketball player days. And LeBron, I think if he focuses on the fight and what he's doing, he might have a chance. But he already got knocked out of the NBA playoffs pretty easy. And so I think that the Entourage, they shine bright. They're stars, just like the Suns, and the Suns already knocked out LeBron's Lakers. So I think these stars from Entourage are going to knock out LeBron James too.
All right, your symbolism there is a bit of a stretch. I see a guy who, love him or hate him, is one of the best athletes in the country, who has a wingspan of greater than 7 feet, and he's going up against 4 dudes that the Entourage crew. You think E is going to even factor into that? Oh, man. I got LeBron. It's LeBron all day against the Entourage crew. Those pretty boys are going to get their junk rocked by all of LeBron's 6'8" of height, strength, and Wingspan. He's going to slap him around. It'll be entertaining to watch. I would like to watch. If that was on ESPN 8, the Ocho, I would be putting that on and watching it. But I think it's LeBron.
You know, these guys probably actually run in some of the same circles. You know, again, Hollywood, celebs from a show that featured them as Hollywood kind of people, the Entourage crew, and then you have them going ahead against Mr. LA, LeBron James there. And so, yeah, I mean, it could be interesting. Maybe he would try and go easy on them, and they would be able to capitalize upon that. I mean, Turtle's in much better shape than he was in the beginning of the series, and no slouch, man. They have Aquaman. All right, so it's not the Jason Momoa Aquaman, who would be a little bit more of a
challenge. That would be more of a fight.
So Vincent Chase, yeah, not quite the same level. All
right. All right, moving on to our final matchup in that region. We got SEAL Team 6 going up against the Shermanator from American Pie. So,
I mean,
go ahead, Rotag.
Willie, SEAL Team 6, they're just going to get the job done. They're good at that. Shermanator, he wants nothing a part of that at all. He's, weak link. There's a reason why he's a 15 seed. He's not even up there at the 14 seed like Chandler level. And so
he's going to piss himself. He's going to piss his pants. Okay, so with that, we have gone through each of the 4 regions. So how about you tell me who you got coming out of each region and why you picked that, and who you have as your sleeper picks to make deep runs in this tournament.
Yeah, well, and we want to encourage our universe here for the BRAWL Nation to go ahead and tweet us and go ahead and let us know who you think are going to win this. We'll try and release some pictures of our brackets so that way you can see, our predictions fully as well. But for me, my final 4 comes down to this. Out of the Wrigley division, I've got Batman, your boy who is going to demolish Stephen A. Smith in the greatest first-round matchup ever, beating Darth Vader out in the Elite 8 to be my number 1 from the Wrigley division. Moving over to the Hofbrau division, I've got Godzilla and King Kong, because nobody's got nothing on King Kong. As much as they might say they do, they don't. And you teaming him with Godzilla, it's going to be just a sweet matchup all the way through the Sweet 16, through the Elite 8, right into the Final 4. Easy peasy for them. There's nobody in that thing that even stands a chance compared to them. When we throw it down up to the North Pole in Mr. Santa's Octagon, I've got, a little bit of an upset here with the Terminator upsetting Superman. Superman, everybody thinks all powerful, he's got this. But you know what? I'm going with the T-800. He is going to find a way to make Superman submit. Finally, in the Roman Coliseum, and we talked about this earlier, and I said if he was in the other division, he would not win because he would have been spending his time doing something else, and that would have been drinking. And that is my upset, my number 9 seed, Andre the Giant, coming out of that division. So my final 4 is Batman, Godzilla King Kong, T-800 Terminator, and Andre the Giant. You can write that in pen. You don't have to use pencil, pen. That's what you need to write it in, Willie, because that is what is going to happen.
Well, given the fact that you got Andre the Giant taking down both Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Thanos, I think you might want to not just write it in pencil, but toss that in the old fire pit, because that bracket is going to get busted. Here's my picks. Coming out of the Wrigley Field bracket, I have Maximus, General of the Armies of the North. He will have his vengeance in this life or the next, and he will take down all of his competitors in that bracket. Moving over to the Hofbräuhaus bracket, I actually have the one person in this fight who has a gun. It might have just one bullet, but the one-armed pirate with gonorrhea has got the rage and the weaponry to win that division. Moving over to the Santa's Octagon, I have Jaime Lannister taking down all of his foes and making it to the Final Four as the 3 seed. He's got the sword, he's got the skills, he's got the impeccable jawline, Jaime Lannister takes this down and advances to the Final Four. Finally, in the Coliseum bracket, Thanos, as I said, is inevitable, and Thanos advances. Who do you have? How does your Final Four go down, Rotag?
Well, before I answer that, I just want to say your Maximus pick is not going to happen. It's bats all day there. If it was in the Coliseum, I would maybe give some advantage to him, but he's got nothing at Wrigley Field. It's not going to happen. Your Pirate pick, man, you are grasping at straws harder than I am grasping that with Andre the Giant on that one. Lannister's a good pick. I can't fault that. That one's a tough one. That was kind of a sack division when you got Superman and you got the T-800 and you got Lannister. Those top three are very, very strong. And then moving on, Thanos inevitable. You finally got number one pick because you were stretching a little bit. Reaching down there, and so you finally got number one seed. And so, all right, Thanos, I can give you that. He could come out of there. He could be inevitable, but I'm still going with my man, Andre the Giant. We got one Giant versus another one, and I'm willing to take my bet on Andre there. For my Final Four, it's going to break down with Bats versus T-800. And you know what? This is where the T-800, Mr. Terminator, meets his match. Batman is just too good. He just is. You can't beat him. He is just too amazing. He is an inspiration to not only me, but all the entire world. And so Batman, he is going to take out the Terminator. The Terminator is terminated. Moving on to my final matchup of Godzilla and Kong versus Andre the Giant. Now, I love Andre the Giant, and I've been talking him up this whole time while you've been trying to throw Buffy at me and Thanos at me. Godzilla and Kong, I cannot overthrow them with Andre the Giant. Godzilla and Kong, together, just too powerful. Two giants versus one, you gotta go with the two. And that brings me to my final matchup, Godzilla versus Batman. And before I give my winner, go ahead and break down your Final Four for us.
Okay, Maximus versus Jaime Lannister with a sword. I actually have the upset pick here. Maximus is probably one of the few people in the earthly kingdom to take down Jaime Lannister. I got Maximus coming out of that, disarming him, taking his sword, maybe throwing some sand in his eyes. He's going to take down Jaime Lannister. Over in the other bracket, the Pirates' magical run will finally end, even though he'll still have difficulty peeing. Thanos is going to crush him like a bug. So goodbye, Pirate, in that one. So my championship matchup is Maximus versus Thanos.
What's quite interesting, Willie, is the fact that this is all based upon the draw of the cards and anything can happen. And so that's why, you try to pick and strategize and see where you think is going to come out. But you also play a little bit with the heart and who you want to win and such. And neither one of our Final Fours match up at all. We don't have any of the same Final Fours. So this is really going to be decided in the early rounds about who picked a better bracket, with their predictions, whether it was Rotag, yes, the man, or Wild Willy with his crazy predictions that are asinine and probably have no chance of happening. So, with that being said, Batman, Godzilla, Kong. You already know where I'm going with this.
I do, but I want to know why and how. How is Batman going to take out...
I'm representing him right now with his shirt on because he is the man. There is nothing that will stop him. He will go forever undefeated in any Brawl tournament. And that is Batman. He is there. He is just too smart, too rich, too creative, too everything. There is nothing that he can't solve. He can stop anything. The man is a mere human who has taken down Superman. He has taken out the best of the best superheroes with superpowers, and he stops them. So, I I don't see why he can't come up with something that will put him into the history books and making him the first ever Brawl Championship.
That would earn him a ticket to the Tournament of Champions. But I also do not see that happening. Like I said, I got Stephen A. over Batman in the first round, so that's a interesting battle there. Like I had mentioned before at the very start of this broadcast, Thanos is inevitable. I got Thanos taking down Maximus in the championship and becoming our first Brawl champion. But, as you said, anything can happen with these draws. So, let me break it down for our listeners. If you would like to make your own bracket predictions, which we'll post on our Twitter page, the Rotag and Willy Show, at Rotag and Willy, all one word, R-O-T-A-G, and W-I-L-L-Y, Rotag and Willy, on Twitter. So, for you to make your own picks and do your own math, if there is a seed difference of greater than 10, the brawl can end instantly if the higher seed draws an ace, king, queen, jack, or 10. The brawl's over at that point. Knockout. If there's no knockout card drawn, then each, starting with the better seed, will draw a card one at a time until they have 3 cards showing. Then blackjack rules, highest point tally wins. If it's a tie, draw a 4th card to see who advances. Seed difference of 10, 9, or 8. The higher seed has an ace, king, queen, jack possibility for a knockout. If the seed difference is 7, 6, or 5, the knockout cards are ace, king, or queen. If the seed difference is 4, the knockout cards are an ace or a king. If the seed difference is 3, ace only for the knockouts. If the seed difference is less than 3, there are no natural knockout cards, and thus we go to the only other option, which is the Joker. There are 2 Jokers in the deck. If at any point a Joker is drawn, the brawl is over and that person has used a dirty move to end the fight instantly. Doesn't matter the seeding. Betty White can take down Vader if she draws a Joker. I don't know what Joker it would be to take down Darth Vader. I don't care. It's entertaining. So, do the math, figure out your picks. We're going to post some key matchups. We're going to post our Cinderella picks. And 1 week from today, we will have the actual showing of the Brawl. So, hope you enjoy our podcast. Rotag, anything to add?
Yeah, just some final thoughts there. Check out the description box below here on the YouTube, so that way you can go ahead and get the breakdown of exactly what Wild Willy just went over. And then remember to like and subscribe and share. We're just a couple of friends that got together, had this idea way back when we were in college, and now just trying to put it to work, to bring it out to you guys, to be entertaining, to have some fun. And that's what we just want here, is just to be that kind of enjoyment in life. Life gets simple and hard, and so let's just have some fun with this and enjoy. It's all there for you guys to enjoy. That's why we're putting out there, is not just to keep it to ourselves, but to let you guys be a part of this. And we really want to see this community grow and to be in excitement and to, just enjoy something together. And so I'm excited about the first one. We'll see in the next episode how the fights went down and who truly is the champion, Batman. And then we'll be able to go from there and look forward to, many more brawls to come.
That's right.
Willy, I'm so excited. I thank you for coming along on this ride with me, and I'm excited to just go ahead and see what happens with this.
Absolutely, Rotag. Some of the best times of the year are in March, when everybody's got their March Madness brackets. We've got March Madness all year round with some fun and entertaining brawls to come, different settings, different characters, and at the very end of the season, a Tournament of Champions, where each of the 16 champions comes together in one single region to come up with the champion of champions. And as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Folks, we're not advocating violence. This is strictly for fun speculation, letting the cards decide, and 2 dudes getting together and bringing to you what made up many of our weekday evenings in our crappy apartment at the University of Florida. Rotag.
Well, for Wild Willy, I'm Rotag. Thank you for listening to the Rotag and Willy Show featuring Brawl. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Keep it real.